In this project, we have a 17-year history of bringing diverse stakeholders together to share knowledge and information and collaborate and understand and mitigate the impacts of pesticides through our 3 working groups. These working groups are a collection of people that often come together from our annual conference. In other words, we tend to recruit and encourage participation and find people that we need to pull into these work groups. So you're going to hear several times in the next few minutes a call to action, an invite for you to join any of these groups if you're intrigued by the work that you're going to hear about. So we have 3 groups. There's the Research and Data Gaps Work Group, comprised mostly of state and federal agency scientists, also academic researchers, and others. We've got the Healthy Alternatives Work Group. They're advocates and educators. They focus on public education campaigns around solutions and healthy alternatives. We've also got the Sustainable Agriculture Work Group. That's comprised of farmers and beekeepers, agriculture and land care professionals, business consumers of ag products, a diverse group working on materials and products that will help promote sustainable agriculture. So what we'll do now is hear from each of the groups, just a real brief update on their progress over the last year, so since our last conference, some ideas for future direction, and the way that the Jamboard input that we got 2 years ago is being used to influence those future directions and ways that you can get involved. So we'll hear quickly from each group. We're going to start with Veronica Corella, who is our leader for the Healthy Alternatives Work Group. We'll then go to Cleo Braver for the Sustainable Ag Work Group. And then I'll fill in with a few remarks about the Research and Data Gaps Work Group. We did hear more from that group at the last conference, so I'll keep it short and sweet. But let's go ahead, and we're going to start with Veronica and the Healthy Alternatives Work Group.
Great, thank you. I'm Veronica Corella. I'm Legislative Director for the Maryland Children's Environmental Health Coalition, and I co-facilitate the Healthier Alternatives Working Group along with Steve McDaniel. This year, the Healthier Alternatives Working Group completed several projects that were informed by the Jamboard suggestions from the 21-22 sessions. First, we launched a new social media campaign for managing mosquitoes without pesticides. This was in response to several Jamboard comments about educating the public about mosquito spraying and making our educational fact sheets more visible on social media. The resulting social media toolkit for managing mosquitoes without pesticides campaign gained much more visibility on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Nextdoor platforms. We also updated and created a social media campaign for one of our very popular booklets called Pesticides, Risks, Prevention, and Healthier Choices. We've created visual posts that link to individual fact sheets. This fall, we did a letter campaign targeting Maryland public school systems to remind school officials, operations folks, facilities, and health employees about the need to pay attention to what disinfectants are used in the school building around our children. We reminded them about one of our great resources, saferdisinfectants.org, that is available to everybody for identifying the safest alternatives, no matter what needs disinfecting. Next slide, please. Some of the Jamboard ideas you see here summarize the numerous ones with similar themes. We identified several projects that the work group will pursue over the next year. First, we're going to publish the Pesticides, Risk Prevention, and Healthier Choices social media toolkit and share this with organizations to help spread the word. Watch for an email in January with a link to the toolkit and a request that you share the campaign on your social media pages. We plan to develop several more social media campaigns, such as the meaning of that yellow turf flag, safer lawn and land care alternatives, gardening for pollinators, and linking to resources on MPEN's website and other websites like Montgomery County's, which has great resources for pesticide-free lawn and land care. In fact, this conference was a direct overflow from the suggestions about educating on soil health and organic regenerative agriculture, and we will continue to discuss more ways to carry these ideas forward in the coming year. Next slide, please. The Healthier Alternatives Work Group is for stakeholders from diverse backgrounds who are interested in educating the public. It's a great place to share your expertise to fuel ways to build public awareness. Please look for an email inviting you to join us at our next virtual meeting in the first quarter of 2024. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veronica. Impressive work. Awesome. Thank you so much. Let's jump over now to Sustainable Agriculture Work Group and Cleo Braver.
Hello there. Good morning. I'm Cleo Braver. I'm the co-owner with my husband of Cottingham Farm, which is out here in Talbot County, where we grow organic produce and we organic fed rotationally grazed animals. So I am the co-facilitator along with Errol Maddox of the Sustainable Ag Working Group. So this year, the working group worked on a few projects. One of them that we're currently finalizing is a social media toolkit for educating the public on regenerative ag practices and what the benefits are of regenerative farming to the environment and to health, both personal on a micro scale and on public health on a macro scale. And the point is really to help drive demand in the public sector for supporting farmers who are using these regenerative practices. And so we're going to be launching that campaign in the first quarter of 2024. One of the things that I was pleased to help work on this year was developing a landowner action plan. It's a document that lists 20 different ways that landowners, and we mean big and small, as well as those who are actually farming land in Maryland or who permit others to farm on their land, ways that they can improve the health of their land and contribute positively to the Chesapeake Bay watershed at the same time. So recommendations, are going to be along the lines of, no surprise, moving away from synthetics, both synthetic fertilizers and synthetic pesticides, to more organic things, putting buffers and cover crops, and even if it's not if it's ag land for farming, just like gardening, moving away from synthetics. Moving away from lawns to native plants and shrubs. But even those who aren't landowners can be a part of this transition because we are all consumers of food. So you don't have to be a landowner to participate. And then one of our working group members, Steve Kraszewski, who you met this morning during Oren's talk, is working with us to develop a video series on organic regenerative farming practices. It's aimed at farmers who may be interested in transitioning from conventional to organic healthy soil practices, much as the Masons did a number of decades ago. He's already finished and hope we'll be able to view soon his first video on strip till corn. So thank you, Steve, for that work. We're excited to see it. Next, there we go. Our working group also evaluated the Jamboard ideas from 2021, and we're looking at ways to incorporate those ideas into our work in the coming year. The ones that you see here are the ones that we are likely going to be focusing on: sustainable land practices, making public and private landowners aware of practices that they can engage in, pesticide dangers and safer alternatives. We can grow our food and our fuel and our flowers and our plants without those synthetics. Pollinator protection is going to continue to be important to us, and building up healthy soil and, as a result, storing carbon. So those are going to continue to be important for us. We'll finish the landowner action plan and publish it this year and distribute it to landowners and farmers in Maryland. And Steve is going to continue to develop and create more of his great short video clips on organic regenerative farming practices. And lastly, we're going to be launching our organic regenerative social media campaign and be asking you again to spread the word about that. So watch for an email in January with a link to the toolkit and a request that you share that campaign with on your own social media pages. Again, this conference topic was in response to your interest in healthy soil and organic regenerative ag, and we're going to continue to work on that in 2024. So, this working group is for farmers, for gardeners, for land care professionals, for any stakeholder in our agricultural ecosystem, and that includes those of us who eat, because by eating food, we are taking an act that dictates what our food production practices look like. So it's a great place to share your expertise on farming or on gardening, and even legal issues for farmers. So look for an email inviting you to join us, for those of you who haven't already, at our next virtual meeting, which will take place, I believe, in the first quarter of 2024. So thank you.
Thank you, Cleo. Great work. I cannot wait to see that video. Really exciting. Okay, so let's just touch quickly here on the research and data gaps work group. Looking back, two principal efforts in the work group. The first is a report that we mentioned at the last session, communicating recent pesticide research findings to inform stakeholders. This is approximately a 10-year look back for studies that we think are particularly relevant. Maybe they are specific to Chesapeake Bay watershed. If not, we think they have the potential to be relevant and informative to the watershed's science community and policy community. So we looked back and we summarized in the end 25 studies that we thought were interesting and relevant and important. And we're finishing up that report, putting the last couple finishing touches on it. The other was that we did an update of work that you may remember if you've been with us for a while. We created a methodology for ranking our relative concern for different pesticide active ingredients. The idea was that we know there are hundreds, if not thousands, of active ingredients being used in the watershed, and what's most important? How do we focus in and prioritize on things that appear to be the most important? And this methodology used a range of data about use and potential impact and risk, and we have done an update of those matrices. So we'll be sending something out on that and making sure that you have access to the data and the conclusions that we've drawn there. So that's the 23 look back, yes. And generally speaking, we saw a lot in the Jamboard asking us to continue to follow the research on pesticides and the environment and people. And also there was a strong theme in 21 of interest with regard to PFAS in pesticide products. So we've followed that through here. I think the products that I just described, including our look back report and the updated matrices, are directly addressing the first bullet there. And we're bringing back some PFAS updates in this year's conference. So we'll learn more about that. One thing that we're hoping to do is, instead of waiting to do a 10-year look back on key research findings, we'd like to do that throughout the year so that at each conference, we can bring you some summaries of key studies and published research that we think is important and bring it to you on a yearly basis instead of a long-range look back. So we're going to try that this coming year and make this update just a routine part of our annual conference, so we're up on the absolute latest research findings that we're aware of. was looking forward to 2024 and the ways that you can get involved here. So along that specific point, if you see a research report, we prefer to use peer-reviewed, published journal reports if possible. There are some other things that are credible, some other sources. So if you see any of those that you think are really important and this community of people that comes together each year could benefit from, please send it to us. Of course, we'd like to have you or any other stakeholders or experts in this area that might help us with our research and data gaps work. And as I think has been mentioned, we're going to be recruiting for the work groups. Yep, we'll show here how you can get involved. We want to hear from you. We want your expertise. It's not a great big time commitment. We don't tend to meet very, very frequently, but there are a few meetings a year or so. And if you jump in and start helping with a specific project, well, that might involve some more time, but love to have you not only just attending, but helping us. And I think you can see, again, this point that I make, that this is really something that is special about this project. We don't just come together and talk every year. We also come back together and work and produce products that hopefully are making a difference. And we would love to hear from you and have your involvement. There will be an email that will go out and we'll have some questions for you and hopefully encourage you to work with us throughout the year so we can bring back the kind of work products that you heard about just now each year in our conference.